Greetings, everyone. This is Bryan Reesman, host of Sci Jams, welcoming you to episode 60, featuring Margarita Monet, the vocalist and keyboardist for symphonic metal band Edge of Paradise, and also she's a painter and sci-fi fan.
Yes.
I see.
Yeah.
I think so.
Having me.
Yes, thanks for coming on. I'm curious because I think somebody said that of your recent album that it made them think of Frank Herbert and sort of other sci-fi authors.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yeah, I've always been a fan of sci-fi, but also my dad is a scientist, so I've always been a fan of science and just fascinated with space and technology and just also everything larger than life. And I kind of put that all together in our music.
So what kind of science did he study? What's his discipline?
Well, my dad's he is more into combustion engineering, chemical engineering, but he really branches out into medical and even space. And growing up, I've always been into astronomy, but I also love to read anything about genetics and also about how humanity is evolving, especially with integration of technology and how our future might look like. So yeah, this last album is kind of exploring, the integration of artificial intelligence, human mind, and just also pushing the boundary of reality. Because I always say, like, if you give an iPhone to someone, I don't know, 200, even, to anyone that never experienced technology like that, it would be very mind-blowing. It would be like seem impossible. So to us, it's just a normal part of life now. So maybe 100 years from now, we can travel through dimensions and it would be totally normal.
Yeah, you're a big sci-fi fan. I actually have my shirt has little rocket ships on it. I decided I bought that recently, so I figured I should wear this.
Nice.
That was like a little, yeah, it's interesting. And I noticed that obviously in your videos too. I mean, there's a sci-fi theme in the band's, in your lyrics, in the band's videos, in your painting. It all seems to kind of mix together.
Yeah, well, the paintings are always inspired by the songs for me. And like this new album, it's kind of a continuation of our album Universe.
Yeah.
And with that album, we really kind of established the theme of the band, or where our story goes, and everything. Some people even ask if it's a concept album. It's not really a concept album, but we definitely have a concept, and it's kind of like defined us. So everything stems from this idea of exploring everything to do with technology, human mind. It's also very personal, and it's also there's a lot of soul in it. Basically, it's kind of like what we go through, what we feel through our daily lives. It's just taken to a bigger, taken to kind of a new world, larger than life setting.
Yeah, I mean, you have there's the false idols. I call it the Egyptian video.
Oh yeah.
And there is the Egyptian theme, but interestingly enough, there is this one bodysuit that you wear that they don't show it a lot because the cuts are quick and the camera's moving, but it totally makes me think of Tron.
Yeah.
Like, was that on purpose? Was that the reference?
So false idols. So the video, I wanted to kind of show the idea that false idols, the idea that throughout history, and probably, in the future, what makes people follow certain people or certain individuals, even, good or bad. It's just that idea of what makes us follow certain people. So I wanted to kind of show it throughout the timeline. So we go to the ancient Egypt, but we're also in the future and have that, exploration.
Well, there's a lot of similarities, right? It's like humankind keeps going century after century, and you think we've learned something, and we haven't. Exactly. And and what's interesting too about a lot of your paintings, there's that sci-fi theme. I also sense there's a lot of self-portrait kind of stuff in there. Is that you in a lot of different roles, or is that just how it turns out? You're like, wait,
Yeah, I mean, I don't go in trying to paint myself. I never see them as self-portraits, but I think people just assume that just because, yeah, I usually depict a female character,
Red hair
but
and
as the hair. Yeah, maybe it is me in like different settings, different scenarios, but I don't make it, I don't try to do that on purpose. Like
well,
that's definitely not me. Or maybe it's me, the cyborg version of me in the future. Who knows?
there's one that that it might, and that one probably doesn't look like you, but there's one with it looks like a crystal mohawk. It's like sort of cyberpunk, and it's got this one with the crystal, the triangles.
Yeah, that's
And they feel-
the one.
Is it what's the title? What's the title of that one?
My Method of Madness. Let's see if I can zoom in. Is that
There's that one. There we go. And there's the other one too with the head back. She has the head back, looking up, and
Oh.
there's also it looks very punk.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think that's Digital Paradise.
So they really are. They're all named after your songs.
Yeah, the last ones, yeah, because for the last ones, I am making a painting for every song. But yeah, there's a lot of yeah, I don't know. There's a lot now. But like for example, for Believe, we just released a video for
Yeah.
Believe. I did 5 paintings. So all of them you kind of see in the video, and they sort of tell the story of the song. So there's a collection of 5. That this is the main one. The Believe.
Right. Now this is the video where you're also painting one, right?
Yeah, so I'm painting.
You're
It's
on.
actually the one I'm painting. That's
Okay.
yeah.
Now those are all inspired by the same song.
The 5, yes. So that's the main one. Then like here's one. So because the lyrics, um,
Right there behind you.
yeah,
Okay.
right there. So this one.
I'll put it on screen too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also one from the song.
So how long do these generally take to paint?
It depends. It depends on each one. So I usually a week, but I don't sit around and like, I usually kind of come back to it. I do a little bit, then I kind of think about it, and the next day
Yeah,
come
yeah.
back to it. Yeah.
You're not like the tortured artist. Oh,
Yeah. And
what am I gonna do
think
next?
over it, I'm like, I don't like it.
So what do you like to paint with? I know you're on canvas, right?
Yeah, usually on canvas with acrylic paint. I like acrylic because it's very forgiving. You can paint over it, and if you make a mistake or you want to change something, it's very easy to do the changes. Um, so yeah, I like acrylic paint.
What did you start with acrylic, or did you try their other types of paint first and experiment to see which ones you liked?
Yeah, I did oil painting before. I mean, oil is definitely probably the best way to go. It's just
Yeah.
way easier with acrylic. So, when I have more time, I'd like to experiment with oil painting more, definitely.
Yeah, I know it definitely is time consuming. I think you only sell you've sold a number of them. You're selling them online for like $100.
I know everybody's like it's too cheap.
You should. I think you should sell it for more, right?
I know I should. I want everybody to have it. It's, I would have to raise the price soon, and I've been selling a lot of canvas prints of the paintings, but probably for original art, because it does take me a lot of time, so I might have to raise a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you've said you like to share the beauty of art with people. You're not really doing that. You're not doing that aspect of your art for money. I mean, obviously with the band, you want to make some money and be able to go out and tour and sell albums and merchandise. But this is more of it's a different kind of passion. It sounds like.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. My mom always painted, so I get it from her.
Ah. So when did you start painting?
Oh, so since I was very little, my parents always introduced me to all kinds of art, and my mom always painted, so I kind of did it with her since I was like 5. But you grow up, you kind of start focusing on other things. So I haven't painted when I went to college, probably,
Hmm.
I don't know, number of years. Then when I started doing the band, randomly, I actually the artist that created a cover art for one of our CDs Timo Boris from Germany. He kind of inspired me to start painting a little bit. So I posted something on Facebook that I did, and
Okay.
people liked it. And then someone like wanted to buy it, and then more people was like, started asking about it. So I started painting more, and then it kind of became part of the band because I started to get inspired by the songs and then the lyrics, and then it became a thing. So
It became that thing. I actually want to look at, yeah, there's a lot. I mean, you have a lot of different works here.
mhm.
Um, you know, um,
Yeah.
you have, there's sci-fi. Some of them have a sci-fi theme. You have pyramids. There's also the triangle kind of thing. I don't know if that's also inspired by pyramids, because obviously in the new video for Believe, you have this dress with like these
The triangle,
glass triangles.
it actually started. So our title track, The Unknown, we started to create a video for it with Scott Hansen. And, talking about the storyline, I'm like, I want to have something to symbolize. We were trying to find something to uh, symbolize the unknown, or that I discover something in the desert. So I'm like, I want to make something. So I was looking into it, and at the time I started playing around with the resin, and I found mold. It's a pyramid mold. So I just poured
Oh, wow.
resin into it, and just I made that pyramid you see in the videos. So that's how the pyramid started. It's just me trying to make a prop for a video, and then we put some special effects in it, and then it lights up in the video. So it actually,
Yeah.
real life, because I sell them as well. I put an LED light inside, and
Oh, really?
it lights up. So
So you're like developing this whole other side business here. Pyramids, paintings, and what else?
I don't know. Well, it'll be, I don't know what I'll think of next. But, well, I do have resin coasters that I include an artwork inside, and there's lyrics inside. So I don't know. I like all this type of artsy stuff. So who knows? Who knows what will be next?
I guess that was good for you during the pandemic then. You had a lot of things to create.
Yeah, I always like creating. So yeah, I've kept myself busy, and I'm very grateful that people are interested. So thank you, everybody, for keeping me busy.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking here. There's a lot of interesting pieces. 'Cause, I mean, some of them are more sci-fi. There's one here with kind of like the face on the mechanized person. It almost even android. Almost feels kind of steampunkish
Yeah.
in a way, with the rose, where the rose petal is falling down into her mouth
Mhm.
or into her lips. And you have, some of this stuff feels more steampunk, and then some of it's a little more fantasy. Some of it's nature based.
Mhm.
And then of course you have the mermaid in outer space, which says "I'm one with the stardust."
Oh yeah.
And
Mermaid.
artistically speaking, like who are your big influences?
So growing up, I've always I lived in Moscow till I was 11, and my mom always took
Hmm.
me to a lot of different museums. Um, I always loved this artist. His name is Ayvazovsky.
Hmm.
And he painted a lot of ocean, a lot of storms. And I don't know why I've always been attracted to storms in the ocean, even though it's terrifying, but I just find beauty in it. Yeah, his paintings are very beautiful. Like you definitely feel something when you look at them, and that's what I always liked about art. When I look at a painting, I want it to make me feel something, just like with music. Of course, I
Okay.
love, Da Vinci, Monet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of, and these days there's so many really incredible artists, also with digital art. It's just limitless, number of just beautiful art out there. And like the artist that did our cover art, Alex
Hmm.
Ruiz, his art is really beautiful. Also, the artist Dresden Seven, he came up with a whole alien language for us. And he's done also a lot of art. His more is like metaphysical art. So yeah, it's just a lot of really cool stuff out there these days.
So your last name, your stage last name, was that inspired by the painter Monet?
Well, yeah, definitely. That.
What's one of your favorite pieces here out of all of these? Are there any one or two favorites that you really love out of all your paintings?
I always well, I think I like this one. I mean, it's hard to say. At the time when you work on it, it kind of becomes your favorite. But I do like this one
Yeah.
because it just took me a lot to create all this detail, and there's a city in the background. So a lot went into this one. But this one, for Believe, um, it kind of turned out, yeah, right there.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I like this one too. Just I didn't know what to create for that song. Took me a while to, and then it just kind of came together. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, I mean, it's just like with a song. It's hard to say which one's your favorite because a lot goes into them.
It's like when people ask you, who are your favorite kids out of your children? But then it's a little different.
Well,
I guess.
that's
I mean,
easier to answer. Okay.
I know, because if you have like 50 paintings, it's like 50 kids. It's just impossible. Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like you're taken with the wonder of space. And I know you've spoken about the fact that, I think like me, you believe that there are other beings out there, but we're not necessarily, I'm not necessarily into all like a lot of the Hollywood aliens. I'm not really sure that's the way it would play out.
Yeah.
And you seem to be like me, that we acknowledge there's something out there. We just don't know what it is.
Hey, maybe they're already among us. You never know. Yeah, some people think that they live in another dimension that we just can't see. I mean, who knows? I just think there's so much we don't know, even about dark matter. They recently discovered a galaxy that doesn't have any dark matter. So
Mm.
it's just, I think, um, if universe is infinite and we can't even really grasp the idea of infinity like that,
Yeah.
I think it would be kind of, like we're not the only ones. It would be very, we're not the center of the universe. I can't even imagine that it would make me feel so scared probably if I would think that we are the only ones in the entire universe.
It used to freak me out as a kid, actually, just the idea that where did this all start?
Hmm.
And, how did we end up here? And, when you start to think in those terms, it does make you think about life differently, because I think maybe one of the problems that humanity is having right now, because obviously we have the conflict in Ukraine, and I know obviously I think you're half Armenian,
Yeah, well,
or
actually, I grew up in Moscow, but a lot of my cousins and a lot of my family is in Ukraine. So I have both in Russia and Ukraine. So we're kind of
yeah.
talking to everybody and just hoping that they all stay safe because it's I like it's just so crazy what's happening. I stay out of politics
Yeah.
in the in the ba-
It's tough, I know, because social media and everything
yeah.
else, everyone has an opinion about your opinion.
Hmm. But
But I mean, right now, I feel for the Ukrainian people, and it's interesting because I wonder, we're talking about, your sense of sort of wonder of space and what's out there and all these other things, and you're a very creative person, and I like to write. I try to do some fiction outside of just my
oh,
regular writing and doing podcasting. So don't you think that maybe having that sort of sense of wonder about the world and about other places kind of gives you a different perspective, rather than just being in the bubble that sometimes we are in
oh
as
yeah.
human beings?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always had since I was very little, I remember always just thinking about asking questions that are not your normal, like
Yeah.
6-year-old asking questions. So I've always, maybe because also I've moved a lot growing up. Like, for example, I was born in Armenia, and when we moved to
Mm.
Moscow, I was 3. And I know it's a very young age, but I still remember us moving at that age. And when we came to Moscow, there were tanks everywhere because like Soviet Union fell apart, there's something going on. So I
Yeah.
just remember always having that sort of outside point of view, kind of observing. And just growing up, then when I was 11, we moved to Houston, to Texas.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've yeah, and it's just such different cultures. So I kind of even had to look at the world from more of a detached point of view and kind of looking at the
Mm.
universe. It sort of seems the same because I'm sort of detached from it, but I am in it. And I just look at everything with a sense of wonder. Yeah, and everything interests me. So I want to know things. But yeah, that's kind of, I don't know if it makes any sense, but
Yeah. No, I mean, it's good to have. I think it's curiosity. I mean, that's one of the things I've noticed a lot of times. It often informs people's worldview and their politics is kind of how you view things and possibilities or what.
yeah.
It's kind of it's strange. And I mean, you also having do you have Armenian? You still have relatives, Armenian relatives in Armenia? Because I know with that's the other conflict with the Azerbaijanis, which is actually not even making much of the news in America. And I know Serge Tankian, who I know has been tweeting about that a lot and posting a lot on Instagram.
Yeah, I'm basically from all the countries that have conflicts.
Yeah.
Seems like, but um, yes. So I think for me, I learned from a very early age also that nothing is black and white. It's very hard to just pick a side also because there's no in a conflict there's no right or wrong side, and innocent people are always the ones answering for all everybody else's mistakes and conflicts.
Yeah.
It's always the innocent that suffer basically. So um, it's just it's not a good thing, and
Yeah.
what's happening right now. Yeah, so yeah, for me, I always try to, even when I want to educate myself on what's happening in the world, I always try to read both sides and understand both sides. And of course, there's an aggressor, and of course, I just stand for, the people that are basically the families, the innocent. Um,
Yeah.
there's no need for the suffering of people that just want to live a normal life and just, do good, good people. So,
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's as I grow older, it's about governments more than about people.
yeah.
And it's interesting because in your lyrics, you deal with certain conflicts, but you have a very positive outlook
Yeah,
in a lot of what you do. You have you're forward looking, and you try to radiate sort of positive energy in a lot of those songs in your performances too.
thank you. Yeah, I mean, for myself as well, I do that because people always ask me, do you believe all the lyrics? And I want to believe all of them. And when I write, like, for example, the song The Unknown, I find strength in the unknown. That song was pretty much for myself to find strength in the unknown because I'm terrified of the unknown. So I try to approach every song with positive outlook just to be a positive person myself and try to spread that and share that with other people because it's important because I think the world can be frightening. There's a lot of cruelty in the world and time is just cruel and
Yeah.
it's just a lot of sadness if you whatever way you look at it. So I try to put a positive spin on everything and find some um, not enjoyment, but even in something that's not as positive, it's an experience. So find something in every experience that you can take away. And I try to live like that. It's not easy.
I was thinking as far as painters, are there any favorite paintings that you have? Things that you go back to that inspire you?
Yeah, I've always loved um, painting the girl with a pearl earring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean of course, the famous Da Vinci paintings. It's funny because I saw the Mona Lisa when I was in France, and I was really shocked by how everybody is shocked by how small it is, but it's a large
Yes.
room. And I did the trick where, they tell you if you go to any corner of the room, the eyes sort of follow you. And it's very true. There is something sort of magical, I guess, about that painting. Um, but yeah, I think, when you create something, you sort of infuse it with something maybe that we can, some energy, and
Yeah.
that energy stays, and you really feel it. So that's always what I've wanted to do with our songs and our art is just to infuse it with, you know, an energy that can be passed on and can be timeless.
That's cool. I mean, speaking of the size, how big are your actual paintings? They vary in size. How big are generally the canvases?
Yes, they vary. The biggest ones, I think it's 24 by 36.
Okay,
So
2 by 3 feet.
yeah, I mean, some of them are pretty big, but I haven't. I mean, it would be awesome to make like a giant one. Maybe I'll do it one day.
A triptych,
Yeah.
a big sci-fi triptych.
Yeah.
I went with my mom to Spain about 6.5 years ago. We went to the Prado and we went to the Reina Sofia Museum and we saw Guernica, another famous
Oh,
Picasso painting,
yeah.
and of course then there was Hieronymus Bosch with the Garden of Earthly Delights, that
Oh,
triptych, which is really freaky.
mhm.
I love stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, every time I've gone to Europe on junkets, either for Disney or metal bands, which is an interesting contrast, I've managed to. I always try to seek out art museums and places that have interesting work,
Mhm.
because there's so much to see, and it's amazing. I mean, I'm a big fan of Dali,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and Magritte, and like Dali. There was a Dali museum in Florida. There's obviously the Dali museum in his hometown in Figueres in Spain. And then there was one museum near the London Eye, the Ferris wheel in London. I think that's closed now. I found a sketch museum of it like in Prague.
Oh,
Like there's Dali work everywhere. And Magritte, I don't know, the surreal. I really love the surrealist stuff.
oh, yeah. That's cool.
Somebody had sent me like an image of the persistence of time with the melting watch. I'm like, yep, that's how I feel about time right now.
Yeah.
I don't know when it is. It's just like it's all melded together. Has the pandemic actually changed your art? Have you found yourself painting or thinking about things differently in the last couple of years?
Um, probably. It's hard to exactly pinpoint what it is. I know, like the we made the whole album in 2020. So and it was during the lockdown where everything was closed, but we were able to go to the recording studio, and it was right at that time when shelves at the stores were empty and
Oh
nobody
yeah,
knew anything was going on.
yeah,
So, yeah, some of it inspired some of the ideas, but I think it made me go into the direction of what our future might look like if we do have something like that happen, even on a bigger scale, even if
mhm,
it's something like AI taking over. Like one of the songs, You Touch, You Die, is actually about artificial
right.
intelligence becoming as prominent and taking over humanity because we didn't really see it coming. So, yeah,
Yes, I know. It's Skynet is coming.
yeah. So,
It is a weird time. I'm not sure how I feel about the metaverse. I know some people are excited about it. Definitely with your painting, there's an organic quality to it. Obviously, you're doing it. It's not. There doesn't seem to be any digital thing going on. It's
mhm.
just literally paint on canvas. Like I'm a big comic book fan. A lot of comic books now are done digitally. I mean, a lot of people are drawing things, but they're doing it, on a tablet. It's different than what it used to be,
Yeah.
which is fine. But it's nice. It's good to have that connection to what you're doing.
Yeah, I always loved that physical connection. And also, what if we have an EMP strike? You want to have something.
This is what you think about now in terms of art.
Yeah.
I'll still be able to paint. They can't get me.
And somebody
Um,
will still have my art.
exactly. Well, you also let's see. Now there's like an art book. So you have a lyric and art book.
Yeah.
So do you do this? Is this just one edition, or do you do it for each album?
Well,
Or
for this album, I'm gonna make a brand new one because I did do a lot of the art for each song. So I'm gonna put that with the lyrics.
okay,
That book was mostly the Universe album, but it had a lot of other art because I didn't make art specifically for the Universe album, so it's a little bit different
okay,
book. But yeah, yeah, it has a lot of. I don't remember. I put it out a few years ago, but I think some of it also has basically me telling people how I got inspired for the artwork, but it does have a lot of lyrics of the Universe album.
So now, as far as your painting, is there any kind of piece that you'd like to create? Something you'd like to do that's different, or um,
Um, yeah, lately I've been the art has been a little more, I guess, three-dimensional, I would say. I've been
okay,
incorporating a lot of um, like glass or mirrors, or it's just becoming not just paint. So
okay,
I don't want to say it's becoming more abstract, but it just I want it to be more multi-dimensional. So it depends from which angle you look at. that it sort of morphs a little bit. So I still have like You Touch You Die is a song that I haven't made a painting for. I think with that I can play around with a lot more um, material to go into the painting. More technology, maybe incorporate some motherboards, maybe make it out of that. I don't know. We'll see.
Are there any themes that you actually find yourself coming back to? Do you look at a lot of your work and you see a lot of certain themes that are playing over and over again in your paintings?
I think lately it's just I've been sticking to the themes of the album, but I really want to explore, like, for example, make a painting of what a human mind might look like in a painting.
Hmm.
So I'm really interested in the idea that I'm a believer that human mind is limitless, and we sort of have this outlook that we are very limited, you know. So I want to kind of, not that we're limited, but I want to push the boundaries of what we consider our mind is these days. And I don't know if it's making it's hard to put it into words because I've never really verbalized this idea before.
Well, it's abstract. I mean, that's part of what art is, isn't it? Like I come up with that. You know, I write down a lot of my dreams because I have these just really vivid dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and so sometimes I'm trying to figure it out, and I'll just record it into my phone before I forget what it was. I'll just speak whatever was going on or happening, and sometimes there's ideas and you can't express them that easily, and you just have to find it, and that's kind of the tricky part, I think, because when you deal with like people making movies or making albums, you know, they're going to try to express something to somebody who's more of a business person who's not going to quite get what they're going for unless that person really is in tune with what they do.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
And speaking of dreams, I also have my dreams are very vivid. They're kind of like action movies. So I had actually some of some of the paintings and songs were inspired by this dream that I had that I'm on this other planet and everything is red and I'm like on top of this giant building and it just kind of the sky is all red and it's all very volatile, but it feels very peaceful, but it's still kind of terrifying all at once. And it's just I still sort of see the world of this dream. Nothing really happened in it. There was not like a
Hmm.
storyline. It's just the feeling and the scenery. It just really made an impact on me. I don't know where that dream came from, but it was kind of
But that's that way. Sometimes you find out later on. There's certain things I was like, this happened to me the day before, and there's some symbolism is very apparent, and other things it's just. And you go through phases with your dreams. Like I used to have all these dreams, certain dreams about flying, and then it was these crazy elevator dreams where you're like, you know, flying through the air or crashing into the ground or certain things. And like you go through these periods, you know what I mean? Like whatever's happening in your life seems to be reflected in recurring ideas or symbols.
yeah, I had this reoccurring dream quite a few times. Not lately. It was more, or
Hmm.
maybe I was like worrying about something. I don't know, but I had this dream where I was running on the street and there were houses, and I'm trying to get to my house, but
Okay.
whatever I run, it's like the world is turning backwards, so I'm not moving at all, and I can't get to my destination because everything keeps moving the other way of where I'm running. So
Oh wow.
it's fear that things are just gonna run away from me or fall apart, that I'm just never gonna find my way back. It was really
Oh wow.
yeah.
Wow, that's yeah, you know that I've had. I mean, and and sometimes that's just you know. Don't you ever notice when you're really stressed out? That's when your dreams get really interesting.
Yeah.
When you're kind of happy go lucky and things are good, you're like yeah. But when you're going through a really weird period in your life, then everything gets kind of creepy or strange, and you're going like, what was that all
Yeah, I want to watch a creepy. That's why I don't really watch a lot of creepy movies. If I,
about?
I've never seen The Exorcist because I know if I watch The Exorcist, I'm never sleeping.
Cool. Well, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. It was really fun speaking with you. I hope we come to your part of the woods very soon. We need to get back up there.